The grand chamber of the Galactic Council glowed with soft blue light. 200 alien species sat in curved rows that rose high toward the distant ceiling. In the lowest tier, the human section held only 3 chairs. This small number was just one of many ways the Council showed humans their place. Ambassador John Mercer sat straight in his chair. His gray suit was perfectly pressed. After 15 years as Earth's voice to the stars, he knew what was coming. Beside him, Captain Lisa Dawson wore her dress uniform, medals shining on her chest. Her face showed nothing, but her hand rested near her tablet, ready to send a message home. "We will now vote on Earth's request for terraforming technology," announced High Chancellor Skatar. The tall, thin alien's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. Earth claims this technology is needed to repair damage to their world. John leaned forward. "If I may speak one last time before the vote." "You have already spoken twice, Ambassador Mercer," said Zikatar. "The Council has heard enough human words." Lisa's jaw tightened. John placed a calming hand on her arm. "The vote begins now," said Zikatar. The chamber's walls lit up with colored dots. Red for no, green for yes. The red dots quickly outnumbered the green. John watched, counting silently. The final count appeared in large numbers. 178 against, 22 for. "The Council has decided," Zikatar said. "Earth's request is denied. The terraforming technology remains restricted from human use due to concerns about human unpredictability." John stood slowly. "Chancellor, this technology would help us clean our oceans and restore our forests. We have proven ourselves reliable members of the galactic community for 50 years. "That is debatable," rumbled a voice from the Draconian section. "Humans still fight among themselves. Your technology advances too quickly without proper caution. And yet you happily use our medical discoveries," Lisa said, her voice carrying through the chamber. "Our ship designs, our agricultural methods." The Valaxian representative waved a tentacle dismissively. "Given with Council oversight, as is proper. Without guidance, who knows what humans might do." John gathered his papers. His face showed nothing, but his heart pounded. 50 years of trying to prove humanity's worth. 50 years of being treated as dangerous children. "Is there anything else, Ambassador?" asked Zikatar. John looked up at the tiers of aliens. Some looked smug. Some looked bored. A few looked apologetic. None looked like they saw humans as equals. "No, Chancellor. I believe Earth has heard enough." As they walked out of the chamber, Lisa waited until the door closed behind them. "That's it? We just accept this?" "Of course not," John said quietly. He nodded to their aide, Ryan Parker, who stood waiting. "Were you recording?" "Every word, sir," Ryan said, his young face serious. "The transmission to Earth is complete." John looked out the wide window at the gleaming towers of the Council homeworld. Ships moved between the buildings like fish in a coral reef. Billions of beings from hundreds of worlds, all connected through the Council system. "The President is calling an emergency session," Ryan said, checking his tablet. "They're asking how soon you can return to Earth." "Tell them we're leaving immediately," John said. "Captain Dawson, please prepare the ship." Lisa nodded sharply. "With pleasure, Ambassador." As they walked toward the landing bay, John thought about Earth's patience over the decades, the technology they had shared, the aid they had given to struggling worlds, the soldiers who had died protecting Council interests, all while being denied a full seat at the table. "Do you think they'll ever see us as equals?" Ryan asked. John stopped walking. He looked back at the Council tower, rising high into the alien sky. "I don't think we should care anymore," he said. "It's time for humanity to walk its own path." Lisa smiled for the first time that day. "About damn time, sir." John nodded. About damn time indeed. The United Earth Parliament building stood tall in the heart of New Geneva. Sunlight streamed through the glass dome, falling on the 500 representatives gathered for the emergency session. The mood was tense. Screens around the chamber showed the recording from the Galactic Council meeting. Ambassador John Mercer's calm face as he was denied the right to speak. The sea of red votes denying Earth needed help. President Diane Reeves stood at the center podium. Her dark hair was pulled back, and her eyes were tired but determined. "We have all seen the footage," she said. "This is not the first time the Council has treated us this way. But I suggest it should be the last." Murmurs filled the room. Some nodded. Some looked worried. "I call Dr. Olivia Bennett to present her findings," the president said. Dr. Bennett walked to the podium. Her lab coat was clean, but her hand shook slightly as she adjusted her glasses. "For the past 10 years, I have studied Council technology shared with Earth," she said. "My team has discovered that what they give us is always decades behind what they actually use." She tapped her tablet, and images appeared on the screens. "These are medical devices the Arcarians claimed were cutting edge. We found evidence they have been using much more advanced versions for at least 30 years. More murmurs, louder now. "And this is not the only case," Dr. Bennett continued. "The Council species have been deliberately keeping us technologically behind, while benefiting from our own innovations." Admiral Frank Collins was next to speak. He stood straight in his blue uniform, his voice firm. "If Earth withdraws from the Council, we must be prepared for possible military action," he said. "However, our analysis suggests this is unlikely. The Council relies too heavily on Earth for too many essential services and goods." He showed maps of trade routes and human-operated facilities across Council space. "We provide 30% of all medical research, 40% of agricultural technology, and 60% of the soldiers for border security operations. The Council needs us more than they admit." President Reeves returned to the podium. "The question before us is clear. Do we continue to accept second-class status, or do we walk away?" Representative Kim from the Asian Union stood. "Walking away sounds good, but what about our people in Council space? Our businesses? Our investments? We have prepared a plan," said Secretary Jack Miller, stepping forward with a thick folder. "Operation Silent Departure. A complete orderly withdrawal of all human assets, personnel, and technology from Council space over a 90-day period." Representative Garcia from the South American Coalition frowned. "And if they try to stop us?" Admiral Collins answered. "They would need to stop thousands of ships across hundreds of worlds simultaneously. Their forces are too spread out and too dependent on our own personnel." The debate continued for hours. Representatives raised concerns, asked questions, suggested amendments. As the sun began to set, turning the glass dome golden, President Reeves called for the vote. "All in favor of Earth's complete withdrawal from the Galactic Council and all associated treaties." Hands rose across the chamber. The counting system flashed the results. 487 for, 13 against. "The motion passes," President Reeves said. "Operation Silent Departure begins immediately." Outside the Parliament building, Ambassador Mercer waited with Captain Dawson. When they heard the result, Lisa let out a long breath. "So we're really doing this," she said. John nodded. "Humanity has finally had enough." "Will they try to stop us?" John looked up at the stars appearing in the evening sky. "They'll try to dismiss it at first. Call it a temper tantrum. By the time they realize we're serious, it will be too late." Lisa's communicator beeped. She checked it and smiled. "First recall orders are going out. All diplomatic staff to return to Earth within 7 days." "It begins," John said softly. "Let's see how long it takes them to miss us." Captain Maria Alvarez stood on the bridge of her merchant ship, the Horizon. Through the main viewport, she watched as her crew loaded the last containers from the trading post on Centauri Prime. Alien dock workers watched with confused expressions. "Captain, the Port Authority is calling again," said her first officer, Paul Wright. "They want to know why we're leaving in the middle of our contract." Maria sighed. "Tell them the same thing we told them yesterday. Earth has recalled all vessels. No exceptions." Similar scenes played out across thousands of worlds. Human ships breaking contracts, leaking ports, jumping into hyperspace. Human workers packing up, closing businesses, walking away from jobs they had held for years. On the mining colony of Proxima Centauri IV, Supervisor Alan Garcia oversaw the shutdown of massive excavation machines. The machines hummed as they powered down for the first time in 15 years. "You cannot do this," insisted the Taurian mine owner, his furry face quivering with anger. "These mines provide 40% of the Council's rare earth elements." The contract says. "The contract has a force majeure clause," Alan said calmly, showing his tablet. "Earth's withdrawal qualifies. We're leaving, and we're taking our equipment." The Taurian made a high-pitched sound of distress. "But who will run the machines? My people don't know how." Alan shrugged. "Not our problem anymore." In orbit above the gas giant Helios, engineer Kelly Foster disconnected the last of her team's proprietary upgrades from the fuel processing station. The station manager, a tall Ruckian with translucent skin, watched nervously. "Without your modifications, efficiency will drop by 60%, the Ruckian said. "Yes," Kelly agreed, placing the small black box in her bag. "That's why we're taking them with us." On the Council homeworld, High Chancellor Qatar called an emergency meeting. Representatives from 20 major species attended. "This human tantrum has gone on for 2 weeks now," Qatar said. "They continue to withdraw personnel and assets from Council space." The Valaxian representative waved a dismissive tentacle. "Let them go. They will come crawling back when they realize how much they need Council protection." The Draconian ambassador hissed softly. "Are we certain of that? My world has lost 30% of its medical staff. All human doctors left on the same day." "The humans are leaking gaps in our infrastructure," admitted the Arcarian representative. "But we can fill these gaps. We managed before humans joined the Council." Skatar's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. "Let us be cautious but firm. We will not bend to this human pressure tactic." Back on Earth, the arrival halls of every spaceport were crowded. Ships landed every few minutes, bringing home humans from across the galaxy. Officials processed the returnees efficiently, helping them find housing and new jobs. President Reeves toured the Geneva spaceport, speaking with recent arrivals. "How are our people handling the transition?" she asked Secretary Miller, who walked beside her. "Better than expected," he said. 92% of all humans in Council space will be home within the month. The remaining 8% are mostly on deep space missions that will take longer to recall. And our technology? We're recovering most of it. Some will have to be abandoned, but we've removed all proprietary components and wiped the systems." Ambassador Mercer approached them, holding his tablet. "Madam President, we've received the first official communication from the Council regarding our withdrawal." She took the tablet and read the message. Her eyebrows rose. "They're calling it an unfortunate overreaction and suggest we reconsider our hasty decision." John smiled thinly. "They still think this is a negotiating tactic." "Good," the President said. "The longer they believe that, the more complete our withdrawal will be." She looked up at the arrival board, watching the names of incoming ships from distant worlds. "How long until the first serious problems start appearing in Council space?" she asked. John's smile faded. "Based on our analysis, the first systems will begin to fail within 30 days. After that, it will cascade quickly." The President nodded, her face solemn. "Then we have 30 days to prepare for what comes next." 2 months had passed since humanity began its withdrawal from Council space. Kevin Porter sat in his apartment in Chicago, watching the news on his screen. Before the withdrawal, Kevin had been the lead technician for the Ruckian battle fleet. Now he worked at a local shipyard, helping to expand Earth's defense forces. The news showed grainy footage of a Ruckian warship drifting dead in space. The reporter's voice was calm but excited. "This is the 5th Ruckian vessel to suffer catastrophic system failure this week. Sources say the entire fleet is experiencing similar problems after human technicians departed." Kevin sipped his coffee, not surprised. The Ruckians had always taken credit for their impressive fleet, never mentioning that humans designed and maintained most of the critical systems. They never bothered to learn how it all worked, he said to himself. Too proud. The screen changed to show the medical station orbiting Deneb II. The massive wheel-shaped structure was running at half capacity, with entire sections dark and empty. The Deneb Medical Station reports critical shortages of synthetic proteins used in most advanced treatments, said the reporter. These proteins were exclusively manufactured in human laboratories under the supervision of Dr. Samantha Wells, who has now returned to Earth. The camera showed Dr. Wells in her new lab at Earth Medical Center. She looked tired but determined. We offered to train their medical staff for years, she said to the interviewer. They always refused, saying their own methods were superior. But when patients needed treatment, they always came to us. Across Earth, returning humans watched similar reports with mixed feelings. Some felt satisfaction after years of being treated poorly. Others worried about innocent aliens suffering because of political decisions. In the Council Emergency Center, alarms flashed on dozens of screens. Council members from 30 species argued loudly as reports flooded in. Transportation networks in the Orion sector are failing, shouted a blue-skinned Meridian. The navigation algorithms are no longer updating. Ships are getting lost in hyperspace. The agricultural systems on my world are shutting down, said the Valaxian representative, tentacles waving in distress. Without the irrigation systems the humans designed, our crops are dying. High Chancellor Skatar tried to maintain order, but the chaos grew with each new report. A small Arcarian pushed through the crowd and handed him a datapad. Chancellor, we've completed our assessment, the Arcarian said quietly. 42% of essential council infrastructure relied on human maintenance or expertise. Almost none of it was properly documented. We don't know how most of it works. Skatar's 6 eyes blinked rapidly. Why didn't we know this before? The Arcarian looked embarrassed. We never asked. Each department handled its own staffing. Nobody realized how many positions humans filled until they all left. On the edge of council space, the Taurian trading fleet faced its own crisis. The luxury goods they produced had been bought mainly by humans. Now, with no buyers, their economy was collapsing. We must convince the humans to return, said the Taurian trade minister in an emergency broadcast. Our prosperity depends on it. Back on Earth, President Reeves met with her cabinet in the White House. The mood was serious but confident. Phase 1 of silent departure is complete, reported Secretary Miller. All humans and critical technology have been withdrawn from council space. What about our own shortages? Asked the president. We relied on council resources for some materials. Dr. Olivia Bennett smiled for the first time in weeks. We've already found alternatives for most of them. Without council restrictions on our research, we're developing new technologies faster than ever. Ambassador Mercer checked his tablet as it chimed with a new message. He looked up, his expression grim. It's beginning, he said. The council has officially requested that we return. They're offering concessions. What kind of concessions? Asked the president. Access to some of their restricted technologies. Reduced tariffs on our goods. John paused. But no change in our council status. President Reeves looked around the table at her advisors. Not enough, she said firmly. Not nearly enough. 6 months after humanity's departure, the Galactic Council chamber looked very different. The elegant blue lighting flickered on and off. Only half the seats were filled, as many representatives could not get transport to attend. Those who did make it looked tired and angry. High Chancellor Skatar called the emergency session to order. His usually immaculate robes were wrinkled, and his 6 eyes were dull with exhaustion. The situation continues to worsen, he said. We must find solutions immediately. The Valaxian representative rose, his tentacles drooping. My world faces famine for the first time in 5 centuries. The irrigation systems designed by human engineer Diane Foster have completely failed. We cannot repair them, and our crops are dying. The medical crisis on Deneb II has spread to 12 other systems, added the Arcarian medical chief. Without human-produced synthetic proteins, we cannot treat the most common diseases. My fleet is crippled, shouted the Ruckian admiral, pounding a fist on his desk. 70% of our vessels are dead in space or limping on minimal power. From the back of the chamber, the Taurian trade minister spoke up. The economic impact is devastating as well. Human consumers bought 40% of all luxury goods in council space. Our markets are collapsing. Arguments broke out across the chamber. Some species blamed others for driving humans away. Some demanded immediate military action to force humans to return. Some suggested offering greater concessions. Silence. Skatar finally shouted. Pointing fingers will not solve our problems. We need practical solutions. The draconian representative hissed softly. We have tried to recreate human technology. We have failed. Their methods seem simple, but they contain complexities we do not understand. We offered concessions, said Zikitar. They refused. We offered trinkets, corrected the Meridian ambassador, her blue skin flushed dark with emotion. Not true equality. Not respect. Meanwhile, on Earth, life had changed dramatically. Without council restrictions, human innovation had exploded. New technologies appeared daily. Solutions to old problems emerged as scientists collaborated freely. In her research center in Arizona, Dr. Olivia Bennett reviewed data from her latest experiment. She had developed a new method of environmental restoration that worked 10 times faster than anything available before the withdrawal. The council would never have approved this research, she told her assistant. They would have called it too unpredictable. Her assistant nodded. Do you think they regret pushing us away yet? Olivia looked out the window at the desert. Already, patches of green showed where her technology was bringing life back to the dry land. I think they're starting to understand what they've lost, she said. In orbit above Earth, Admiral Frank Collins inspected the newest addition to Earth's growing fleet. The ship gleamed in the sunlight, its hull marked with the United Earth emblem. She's beautiful, he told the shipyard supervisor. How many more like her can we build this year? 20, at least, said the supervisor. Maybe more. Without council quotas limiting our production, and with all our engineers back home, we're building faster than ever. In Geneva, Ambassador John Mercer attended a meeting with President Reeves and her cabinet. The latest message from the council was on all their screens. They're getting desperate, John said. This new offer includes access to all their technology, not just selected parts. But still no equal vote in council decisions, noted the president. No, John agreed. They still want to keep humans in a lesser position. Secretary Miller checked his data. Our analysis shows the council has perhaps 3 more months before complete collapse. Multiple species have already followed our example and withdrawn from council agreements. President Reeves stood and walked to the window. From her office, she could see the busy spaceport where ships arrived and departed constantly. Earth was thriving. Send our response, she said. The same as before. We are not interested in returning to an unchanged system. John nodded. And if they offer real equality? The president turned back to the room, her face determined. Then we'll consider it. But I suspect they'll have to fall much further before they truly understand. 1 year had passed since humans left council space. Earth had changed in ways few had expected. Cities gleamed with new technology. The environment showed signs of healing. People worked with purpose, proud of what they had built without alien oversight. Ambassador Peter Rodriguez sat in his office in the United Earth Diplomatic Building. Unlike his predecessor John Mercer, Peter had never served in council space. His job was different, dealing with the growing number of alien representatives arriving uninvited to Earth. His assistant entered the room. Sir, another council delegation has entered orbit. They're requesting permission to land. Peter sighed. What's their offer this time? More technology, resource rights to 3 star systems, and a proposal for a new council structure. They say humans would have leadership positions. but still not equal voting rights. No, sir. They call it graduated authority, based on species maturity. Peter shook his head. Send the standard response. We're not interested. This scene repeated almost weekly now. Desperate council representatives arrived with increasingly generous offers. Earth's answer remained the same. Meanwhile, cracks had formed in the council's authority. Several species had followed Earth's example and withdrawn from council agreements. Others stayed but ignored council directives they didn't like. In a small bar on Proxima Station, just outside Earth's solar system, Lana Myers served drinks to an unusual crowd. Though Earth had withdrawn from official council relations, independent alien traders had quickly established unofficial connections. They paid premium prices for human goods and technology. A Taurian trader drank deeply from his cup. The council is furious about this black market, he told Lana. They cannot stop it. Too many species need what humans make. Their loss is your gain, Lana said, filling his cup again. Indeed. The Taurian leaned closer. Did you know 3 more species left the council last week? The Meridians, the Caspians, and the Volari. All gone. On Earth, in his laboratory at the North American Research Institute, scientist Gray Harrison worked on his newest invention. Without council restrictions on artificial intelligence research, he had made breakthroughs that would have taken decades under the old rules. System check complete, announced the computer. All parameters optimal. Greg smiled. Begin final test sequence. The machine hummed to life. Energy flowed through circuits that would have been illegal under council law. The council had always feared human AI research, claiming humans were too reckless. Test successful, said the computer. Neural network capacity exceeds projections by 40%. Greg's assistant whooped with joy. That's it. We've done it. Send the results to the medical team, Greg said. With this processing power, they can complete their disease mapping project months ahead of schedule. In Geneva, President Reeves met with her cabinet. The screen showed images of council space, failing stations, stranded ships, worlds in crisis. The situation continues to deteriorate, reported Secretary Miller. Our intelligence suggests total council collapse within 6 months. And the independent traders, asked the president. Growing daily, many species have realized they can deal directly with Earth outside council oversight. We now have unofficial trade with 27 former council worlds. Ambassador Rodriguez cleared his throat. Madam President, there's a new development. A High Chancellor himself is requesting to visit Earth. Silence fell across the room. Skatar wants to come here. John Mercer, now a special advisor, looked shocked. In the entire history of the Council, the High Chancellor has never left the Council homeworld. He must be truly desperate, said Admiral Collins. President Reeves considered this news carefully. What's his proposal? He doesn't say, Peter answered. He requests a face-to-face meeting with you, broadcast to all human settlements. The president looked around the table at her advisors. Opinions. Let him come, John said immediately. Let him see what we've built without them. Let all humans see how far the mighty council has fallen. The president nodded slowly. Send the approval. But make it clear, we'll listen, but we make no promises. Do you think they're finally ready to offer real equality? Asked Secretary Miller. John Mercer smiled thinly. After a year of failure, they don't have much choice left. 2 years after humanity's withdrawal, Earth had become unrecognizable. Cities shone with new technologies. The environment showed visible healing. Without council restrictions, human innovation had leaped forward by decades. The day of High Chancellor Skatar's arrival brought crowds to the streets of Geneva. Not to welcome him, but to witness this historic moment. Screens displayed the event in every city on Earth and its colonies. The council ship landed at the Geneva spaceport, escorted by Earth defense vessels. It looked worn and patched compared to the gleaming human ships. When the doors opened, High Chancellor Scipitar emerged with 5 other alien representatives. President Nicole Carter waited on the platform. Unlike her predecessor, she had been elected on a platform of strength and independence. Her face showed no emotion as the Chancellor approached. President Carter, Scipitar said, his 6 eyes blinking rapidly, "I thank you for allowing this meeting." "Welcome to Earth, Chancellor," she replied coolly. "We are ready to hear what you have to say." The meeting took place in the Grand Hall of the United Earth Parliament. Every seat was filled. Billions watched the broadcast from homes and public spaces across human territory. 2 years ago, began Scipitar, standing at the center of the hall, humans left the Galactic Council. "We believed this was temporary. We were wrong." Murmurs filled the hall. "The Council is failing," continued Scipitar, his voice strained. 32 species have now withdrawn completely. 20 more ignore our directives. Essential systems are collapsing faster than we can repair them. The Chancellor gripped the podium with his thin fingers. "I am here to admit what we should have acknowledged long ago. The Galactic Council needs humans." President Carter leaned forward. "Why? Be specific, Chancellor." Scipitar seemed to shrink under her gaze. "We need your technology, your medical research, your agricultural methods." He paused. "But most of all, we need your way of thinking." This caused a stir in the hall. The Chancellor continued, his voice stronger now. "Humans solve problems differently. You find connections other species miss. You adapt quickly. You take risks we would avoid. Without these qualities, our civilization is failing." The alien representatives behind Scipitar nodded in agreement. "We need your engineers who can fix systems they've never seen before. Your doctors who develop treatments in days instead of years. Your diplomats who can bridge differences between species that have hated each other for centuries." President Carter's expression remained neutral. "And what do you offer in return?" "A complete restructuring of the Council," Scipitar said. "Humans would hold the highest position, with veto power over all decisions." The hall erupted with voices. President Carter raised her hand for silence. "You still don't understand," she said. "We don't want to rule over others the way you ruled over us. We want true equality, for all species." Scipitar's eyes blinked in confusion. "But you have proven your superiority. Why would you not claim leadership?" From his seat near the President, Ambassador John Mercer shook his head sadly. Even now, the Council could not grasp the fundamental difference in human thinking. President Carter stood. "We will consider your proposal, Chancellor, but not the one you just made. We have our own ideas for a new interstellar organization." After the aliens departed, Earth's leadership gathered in a private room. "They still don't get it," said Admiral Collins. "Even facing total collapse, they think in terms of hierarchy and control." "But they've taken the first step," John Mercer pointed out. "They've admitted they need us. That's more than they've ever done before." President Carter looked out the window at the stars appearing in the evening sky. "Prepare our counterproposal," she told Secretary Miller. "Not for a reformed council, but for something new. The interstellar cooperative, based on genuine equality and mutual benefit." "Will they accept it?" asked Miller. "Some will," said the President. "The ones who have already left the Council. The ones who've been dealing with us through independent traders. The rest will join when the alternative is isolation." John Mercer smiled. "So humans walk away from the Council completely and build something better in its place," finished the President. 6 months after High Chancellor Scipitar's visit to Earth, the landscape of galactic politics had transformed completely. The Galactic Council no longer existed in any meaningful way. In its place, a new organization had formed, the Interstellar Cooperative. The headquarters of the cooperative floated in neutral space, a massive station built with contributions from 47 species. Unlike the old council tower with its hierarchical tiers, the cooperative building was circular, with all chambers and offices of equal size and importance. William Mason, Earth's lead diplomat, walked through the main assembly hall. Representatives from dozens of worlds prepared for the day's session. Some were former council members. Others came from worlds that had never been allowed council membership. Quite different from the old days, said a voice beside him. John Mercer had come out of retirement to help establish the cooperative. Very different, William agreed. No high seats, no low seats. Everyone at the same level. And the voting system? Asked John. One species, one vote, said William. With supermajority requirements for decisions affecting all members. No vetoes, but no tyranny of the majority either. The Meridian representative approached them, her blue skin shimmering in the station's light. The Agricultural Committee has finished its report, she said. The human irrigation systems have been successfully adapted to 17 worlds previously facing food shortages, and medical supplies are reaching the outer colonies, added the Arcarian representative, joining their conversation. The synthetic protein production is exceeding expectations. John smiled. And how are the former council loyalists handling the transition? The Meridian's expression turned serious. The 8 species that refuse to join us are struggling. The Draconians and Ruckians in particular. Their pride prevents them from asking for help. They'll come around, William said. Eventually. In Earth's presidential office, President Carter reviewed reports from across the cooperative. Her desk displayed holograms showing trade routes, scientific projects, and diplomatic missions. Secretary Miller entered with the latest data. The transition has exceeded our most optimistic projections, Madam President. 93% of essential systems have been restored. Trade volume has returned to pre-withdrawal levels. The President nodded. And our own projects. Thriving. The environmental restoration technology has been shared with 12 worlds. The medical advances are being implemented in 94 major treatment centers. On a small garden world at the edge of cooperative space, Captain Lisa Dawson walked beside a Valaxian farmer, where once there had been only dust and rock. Green fields now stretched to the horizon. My people believed this land was dead forever, said the Valaxian, his tentacles gently touching a growing plant. Your Dr. Bennett's technology has brought it back to life. She always said it was possible, Lisa replied. The council never let her try. The Valaxian's skin changed color slightly, showing embarrassment. We were wrong about many things. Humans most of all. Across the stars, similar scenes played out on dozens of worlds. Species that had once looked down on humans now worked alongside them as equals. Knowledge flowed freely, without the council's restrictions on who could learn what. Back on Earth, in a quiet garden in Geneva, Ambassador John Mercer met with Admiral Collins. Both men had officially retired but still served as advisors when needed. Did you ever imagine it would turn out this way? Asked Frank, when we decided to walk away. John watched a bird fly overhead, completely free. I hoped we would find our own path. I never expected we would help create a better path for everyone. Not everyone, Frank reminded him. The holdouts are still refusing our help. John nodded. Some lessons take longer to learn, but they're watching. They see what cooperation and equality have built. Their pride can't hold out forever. In orbit above Earth, the old council embassy stood empty and dark. No one had bothered to remove it. It served as a reminder of what had been and what humanity had refused to accept. President Carter sometimes looked at it from her window. Not with anger, but with quiet satisfaction. Humanity had walked away from a system that diminished them. In doing so, they had forced the galaxy to build something better. The simple act of saying no more had changed everything. Not through war, not through threats, just by refusing to participate in their own belittlement. Sometimes the most powerful thing anyone can do is simply walk away.